Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Premier League review show on Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzie, and I'm your host for today's show. Firstly, apologies for the slight delay. I was scheduled to go live yesterday, but I've been under the weather. But as they say, better late than ever. So let's talk about the key highlights of Matchweek 12. Liverpool managed to extend the lead to 8 points after beating Southampton. Spurs demolished Man City in a surprise 4-0 victory, and Arsenal secured 3 points on the board after beating Forest. So let's review all the matches that took place in Match Week 12, and we'll start with Southampton versus Liverpool. What a crazy game this ended up being. The game had a potential banana skin written all over it, as we knew City had dropped points earlier in the weekend, and Liverpool needed to capitalize and take advantage. Thankfully, that's exactly what happened for Liverpool. Liverpool managed to open the scoreline with a fantastic finish from Dominic Szoboszlai, a left-footed strike posting in, and it's his first goal of the season and first of many, in my opinion. Then Liverpool concede a penalty after Dibbling, who was sensational in this fixture, gets fouled by Robertson. But for me, it was the wrong decision. The foul was committed outside of the box and not inside. Michael Oliver making that decision in the corruption headquarters, also known as the VAR office. And I'm sure David Coote was applauding that decision in the comfort of his own home. Armstrong steps up for the penalty. Kelleher produces a great save, but unfortunately, he's unable to deny Armstrong in the rebound, and the score is 1-1. Then in the second half, Southampton take the lead on the counter-attack as Armstrong lays it off for Fernandes in the middle of the box, and he calmly slots it in the bottom corner to make it 2-1. Liverpool respond as Gravenberch hits a long ball over the Southampton defence. Salah is through on goal, but he hits a fantastic first-time shot to surprise the goalkeeper McCarthy, who, to be fair, had a bit of a shocker in this game. Then, surprisingly, Liverpool were awarded a penalty as Sugawara clearly handballs in the box. Mohamed Salah steps up and smashes the ball into the back of the net to make it 3-2 and rescue all 3 points for the Reds. A great victory, not the best of performances, but in the end, it allows us to extend the lead to 8 points. But after the game, there was a huge talking point as Salah had an interview with NBC Sports about his future at the club, and he states that he's more out than in. And I can't lie, after watching that interview, I was so disappointed with how the club have managed and treated Mohamed Salah in this situation. He's arguably one of our best players in not our best player, he's one of the best players in world football right now. And whether you like it or not, he is Mr. Liverpool. Carragher came out and said he's disappointed with Salah's comments, but I have to disagree with Carragher. For me, Salah has every right to express himself. This wasn't purposely done in terms of having an interview. He was asked a question and he was very open with his answer. But for the club to have no dialogue with Salah or his camp at this stage is ludicrous. This may sound silly, but I think Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes know that Salah is desperate to remain at the club. He's loved by the fans. He loves the club. So they may be biding their time with regards to a contract extension and assume that he's going to be loyal and he'll sign the contract whenever it pleases them. Now, if they're playing with that kind of thought in mind, they're playing with fire. As for me, that's not how it's going to work. In this day and age, players get disgruntled when there's no communication when it comes to contract extensions. And with January literally around the corner, he is free to discuss terms with any team outside of England and he can agree a pre-contract agreement. So for me, they really need to get their act together because if we lose Mohamed Salah, I kid you not, regardless of what we achieve this season, we'll be taking 5 steps back as a club. Call me dramatic, but that's how I see it. There's no player in my mind that can replace Mohamed Salah. But we'll see what happens in the coming weeks with regards to his contract situation. Liverpool have a big game tonight against Real Madrid this evening, and then we've got Man City this Sunday. So that needs to be our main focus going forward. Now, on to the next fixture. Man City versus Tottenham. What a sensational victory for Tottenham. 4-0 against Man City at the Etihad. Simply unbelievable. Let's discuss the key moments of the game. Kulusevski produces a peach of a pass from the right side into the danger zone to find Madison, who scores comfortably from close range to make it 1-0. Madison then makes it 2-0 with a nice dinked finish. Great play from Madison and Heung-min Son in the build-up. Pedro Porro makes it 3-0 as he drives into the box and smashes it into the top corner. Spurs go close, or should I say, they close the game with Brennan Johnson tapping, and it seems like he's been getting a lot of the goals this season. That's his 5th goal so far. So overall, a huge, surprising result of the weekend. And as a Liverpool fan, I'm glad to see that happened. I didn't see it coming. I was predicting it to be a draw. But credit to Spurs, who were fantastic and thoroughly deserved the win. Man City are struggling big time. 5 consecutive defeats on the bounce. And they also drew yesterday against Feyenoord. And that's so unheard of. 3 in the Premier League. And look, they're going through it. And as a Liverpool fan, you have to enjoy it, to be fair. But jokes aside, this week's game, I should say, against Man City is a crucial game for both teams. If Man City win, they can resurrect their title ambitions. If Liverpool win, that's an 11-point gap. And I'll say it straight, if Liverpool beat City, for me, the title is coming to Anfield. So you know where you heard it first. Now on to the next fixture. Arsenal versus Nottingham Forest. The Gunners are back to winning ways as they beat Forest 3-0 in a very convincing manner. Saka opens the scoreline with an absolute belter. Great run and finish from the winger. Thomas Partey, who comes off the bench, scores a screamer from 20 yards out to make it 2-0. The young prodigy Ethan Nwenry scores his first goal for Arsenal with a sliding finish to make it 3-0. What a moment for the 17-year-old and his family. And that wraps up the game. A good win for Arsenal against a strong team in Nottingham Forest who have been in the top 6 in recent weeks. But unfortunately, teams around the Gunners have also won, and the gap is still 9 points to the top. Next fixture. Leicester City versus Chelsea. Mresco returns to his former club and gets the win over the Foxes. Jackson opens the scoreline for Chelsea with a great finish using the outside of his boot. Enzo Fernandez gets the second goal from a rebound as Hermansen denies Jackson with a close-range header. Leicester were then awarded a penalty after the Cordova Reed was fouled by Lavia. Jordan Ayew steps up and calmly slots it into the back of the net to make it 2-1. Unfortunately, at that stage, it was too little too late. Unfortunately, that result ended costing Steve Cooper his job as he was sacked the following day after a terrible start to their Premier League campaign. Now, the big question is, who is in line to replace him? The bookies are suggesting that it could be Graham Potter, who for me would be a great appointment, though I'm not sure if he would accept the job as he's actually rejected it previously, and he's also said that he's willing to be patient and wait for the right opportunity. Other names in the hat include David Moyes and Ruud van Nistelrooy, so let's see who gets the job in the coming days, maybe even coming weeks, who knows. On to the next fixture, Ipswich Town versus Manchester United. This was the first game under new manager Ruben Amorim, and there was a lot of excitement among United fans with this being a new era. And it got off to a great start as Manchester United opened the scoreline in the opening couple of minutes as Amad Diallo goes on an amazing run on the right-hand side, squares it to Rashford, who taps it in to make it 1-0. At that stage, the fans were jubilant and couldn't have expected a better start for the team. So at that stage, you're thinking 3 points must be in the bag, right? Well, no. Ipswich Town had other ideas, and they certainly spoke the party as Omari Hutchinson scores an absolute screamer to make it 1-1. And what a finish it was from the Ipswich midfielder. The match ended 1-1, but we have to give credit to the United keeper, Onana, who had to make a number of saves to deny Ipswich Town and also allow his team to walk away with a point. Aaron mentioned after the match that there's a lot of work to do, and he's, he's certainly right about that. So United fans will need to be patient, as this is not a quick fix. Now, in other games, let's talk about Aston Villa versus Crystal Palace. Villa managed to secure the point in a tough encounter against Palace. Ismail Assar opens the scoreline with a clinical finish with 1-1 with the keeper. Watkins makes it 1-1 as he goes around the keeper and slots it into the empty net. Villa were then awarded a penalty after Leon Bailey was fouled in the box. Tielemans steps up. Unfortunately, he was denied by Anderson, who produces a fantastic save. Palace then take the lead once again as Ismail Assar hits Villa on the counter-attack. And then you have your youngster, Devaney, who places his shot into the corner to make it 2-1. Great moment for a youngster who scores his first professional goal for the club. So great moment for him and his family there. But in the second half, Villa respond and grab the equaliser as Ross Barkley squares a fantastic header from a set piece. So that is all square for Villa and probably for me the right result in the end. On to the next fixture. Bournemouth versus Brighton. So Brighton managed to secure a great win against Bournemouth, who have been great at home so far this season. João Pedro scores the opening goal in the first half, scoring off a rebound with a routine tap in. And then Mitoma then makes it 2-0 with a nice clinical finish, posting in. But unfortunately for Brighton, Baliba picks up a straight red after he stamped on Kirkes in a 1-on-1 challenge there. David Brooks manages to grab a consolation goal for Bournemouth in the latter stage of the game with a fantastic strike with the outside of his left foot. A good win for the Seagulls, who have now moved up to 5th in the league. On to the next fixture. Fulham versus Wolves. I mentioned City and Spurs being a surprise result. This was also a surprise result as Wolves demolished Fulham, and it was at Craven Cottage. In terms of key moments of the game, Fulham actually opened the scoreline with a fantastic left-footed strike from Iwobi right in the top bins. And then Cunha, the man of the hour, then gets the equaliser with a fantastic goal, great touch and finish from the striker. Wolves then take the lead with a great left-footed finish by João Gomez. But the third goal, wow, what a finish by Cunha. Curled effort from the outside of the box, right in the top bin. I'm telling you guys, I mentioned it last week in my previous episode. Wolves need to do everything in their power to make sure he stays this season. Because if he goes, Wolves will struggle to stay in the league, as I believe that he will be in demand in this January window. So Wolves, got to make sure you keep hold of your star striker there. And then Wolves managed to clinch the fourth goal of the game. And I don't mean to be rude when I say this, but I forgot Gonçalo Guedes was even a Wolves player. He, in fact, scored his first goal of the season. So overall, a great win for Wolves that helps them climb out of the relegation zone, as they are currently in 17th place now. Next fixture. It was goalless at Goodison Park, so not a lot to discuss. Flecken was definitely required to be active in this game as he made a number of saves, especially in the first half. Wissa was almost close to opening the scoreline with a one-on-one chance, but Pickford makes the important block. Norgard, unfortunately, is given the marching orders with a straight red for his sliding tackle on Pickford. A bit unlucky with that one, but unfortunately, I can see why it was given. Everton had a chance to capitalise against a 10-man Brentford team when Beto had a point-blank header. Unfortunately, he was unable to hit the target. Fortunately, no other talking point from the game other than Fabio Carvalho's dad commenting on a post telling his son to leave Brentford, which I found quite amusing. And the final fixture of Matchweek 12, which was played on Monday night, and that was Newcastle versus West Ham, as the Hammers managed to claim a great away win against Newcastle. Souček opened the scoreline with a fantastic header from a corner kick, and you won't believe it, Wan-Bissaka scores his first goal for the Hammers as he drives into the box and hits a shot across goal to make it 2-0. West Ham manager Lopetegui was under a lot of pressure in recent weeks, but he's managed to get some points on the board, but they still remain in 14th place. So that is the end of my Matchweek 12 review. Before we go towards the closing stage of the show, let me announce the FPL Manager of the Week. And that award goes to Andy Lewis. Big up Andy's someone I personally know. His team is Tottenham Hotspurs, and he managed to acclaim 92 points, which is a very high tally indeed. So well done to Andy. He's now moved up to 90th position in the league. So hopefully that with that great points tally, it allows you to climb up the table now. In terms of my performance, I did fairly well. I managed to attain 73 points, and I've moved up to 53rd in the league. So a few more high scoring weeks like this, and maybe I'll be back in the top 10 mix again. And speaking of top 10, let's have a look at the table and see if there's any changes to the league. So yes, that is the league table. So hopefully you can see I'll make it a little bit bigger. So here we go. So at the top, Melissa has reclaimed the top spot once again. She got 81 points, which is a great tally itself. So she's back to being number one, and her team name is the normal one. Jake Harrison has moved up to second place. Vipin Mohan has dropped to third. Godwin has dropped to fourth. Ilham has moved up to fifth. Maya has moved up to sixth. Tayoziz has moved up to seven. Pipo Inzaghi has moved up to eighth. Handy Abdad has moved up to ninth. And Chris Barnett has dropped to 10th place. So a lot of new managers moving up the tally in terms of the league ranking there, which is good to see. So yeah, a lot of movers and shakers there, which is a good viewing. So well done to everyone for another FPL match week there. So what we'll do now before we close the show, we can review the upcoming fixtures of match week 13, and I'll go through the comments before we end the show. So it's a Friday kickoff. So FPL managers, make sure you update your team potentially today, tomorrow, because I always forget when it comes to Friday deadline. So I need to make sure I do that myself. So the first fixture is Brighton versus Southampton, which is a Friday night fixture. I think it'll be a Brighton win. Brighton have been in great form in recent weeks. They're fifth in the league. So I think their train is going to keep on rolling. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory for Brighton there. And then Brentford versus Leicester. Leicester, as I know, do not have a manager as of yet. So they're in a bit of uncertainty right now in terms of the direction. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 victory for Brentford. Crystal Palace and Newcastle both coming off defeats over the weekend. At Selhurst Park. I'll give the edge to Palace, and I'll say the match will end 2-1 to Crystal Palace. Nottingham Forest versus Ipswich Town. I think this will be a Forest win, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory. Wolves versus Bournemouth. I feel like this match has got goals written all over it. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. West Ham versus Arsenal, which is a 5:30 kickoff on Saturday UK time. I'm going to go for an Arsenal win. I think it's going to be 2-1 victory. And on Sunday, you've got Chelsea versus Aston Villa. I'm going to go for a 1-0 win for Chelsea. United versus Everton. It's at Old Trafford. You want to give advantage to the home team. I just haven't seen enough to suggest that they're going to turn a leaf under their new manager, Amorim. I'm going to say this is going to be a draw. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Tottenham versus Fulham. I think it'll be a Tottenham win. It'll be a 2-0 victory for Spurs. Liverpool versus Man City, the big game of the week. As you all know, I am a Liverpool fan, so I'm not just going to say it from a biased point of view. I actually do believe Liverpool will win this fixture. Obviously, in terms of tonight's fixture against Real Madrid, that could have an impact going into this game. But I think all the cards are stacking up for Liverpool to get the win. And it's at Anfield. City don't have the best of records there either. So I'm going to go for a Liverpool win. And I'm going to say it's going to be a 2-0 victory. So let's see if I get my prediction correct there. So let's go through some of the comments there. Um, Abdul Rahim says, hi, Ozzie and chat. Assalamu alaikum. How are you? Welcome salam to you, Abdul. All good, thank you. Hope you're doing well. Abdul, he says, like, comment, subscribe, share. Liverpool need to win Real Madrid and Man City. FSG out. You never walk alone, and many thanks. We certainly need to win today and against Man City. If I had to choose an importance between the two fixtures, I'd probably say the Man City one. But today, due to who the opposition is, we've not had the best of um, runs when it comes to Real Madrid in the last few years. So yeah, it would be nice to get one over Madrid. So yeah, let's see how it goes tonight. And in terms of FSG out, yeah, I can see why you said that as well. The recent matches against Southampton, Arsenal, and Nottingham Forest should serve as a wake-up call for our team. We must rectify our errors, eliminate unnecessary fouls, and maintain possession. 100%. The Arsenal game, we were very lucky to get a draw, and because of the level of opposition there, I probably would have been happy with draw before that game. So for me, it's just like, we'll take that one on board. Southampton Forest, 100%. The Forest one certainly took us by surprise, but I think Arnold Slot learned a lesson in terms of team selection. He rushed the likes of McAllister and Diaz coming off international break. When you've got players from different parts of the world, they are going to be traveling a lot. So I didn't think he took that into account in terms of their fitness for that fixture. But that was a good sort of learning lesson, I guess. Even though he mentions it probably every week as a cornerstone where we lost there, but let's not let that happen again. And the Southampton game, it's always the games after international breaks where we seem to struggle a little bit. But I'm just glad we got one over the line there. Southampton, despite where they are in the league, they are a team that play good football. They play positive football. So when you're not fully sort of in line with your previous form, because we had to take a 2-week off, it does take a bit of time to find that rhythm. But look, thankfully we had someone like Mohamed Salah and a team who took the burden and scored those 2 vital goals in the end. And yeah, at this stage of the season, it's all about getting those points. So, we do struggle against these teams that present the low block, but I feel like we did enough to get the win there. So, a lot to improve on, but the signs are there in terms of us winning games without performing our best. And Daz, big up Daz as always. He says, where can we pressure Madrid, Ozzie? So in terms of their lineup, they've got a lot of players missing. So for me, I feel like the key areas that we need to go through is our wingers, where Salah and especially Diaz, because they don't really have an established right back to go one-on-one with the fullbacks and really trouble them. And even in the centre back position, I know Militao's not available, so it'll be interesting to see who plays in that lineup. So yeah, it will be interesting to see what goes on there. So for me, I think that will be the area we really need to try and get the best out of our team, and hopefully that'll lead to some goals. But I'm looking forward to a fixture. It should be an exciting one. Adrian says, Liverpool's playing Real Madrid and Man City this week. Can you give me the lineup, your prediction, how to play, and some tips on how to beat our opponents? I'd also love a breakdown of the game. If that's the Madrid one, do you know what? I wasn't planning on doing a watch on, but I think I will be doing one now. So I'll be logged on a little bit earlier than normal. So I normally go live 5-10 minutes before the game. I'll probably go live a little bit earlier, and then we can kind of go through the lineups together, and then I'll give you a bit more of a breakdown, just because I didn't do a match preview yesterday, so I'm not in terms of aligned in terms of who's available and stuff, but we can have a discussion together today. So yeah, I'll probably be live in about an hour or so, and then we'll do the watch along as well. And then Abdul Rahim also asks, it is imperative that we maintain control, stop talking to media and order within LFC, rival club hate us. If that's in reference to Salah, I understand his frustration in terms of why he said it like that. He tried to be as diplomatic as possible. I think because when he said that more out than in, I think he realized he gave too much away, and then he kept it really simple and kept it very short with his answers after that. Especially when Virgil van Dijk walked behind it, he definitely tried to rush that interview even more so. But this comes from our owners, where they have to have some sort of dialogue. We're almost in December right now, and there's been no dialogue of any contract extension, which is ridiculous. So for me, I'm not too fussed about rival clubs. I just feel like we need to try and make sure we get those contracts done. That's the key thing for me. Everything else, I'm not too fussed about, to be fair. Abdul says it is important that we secure funds from FSG for the club during the January transfer window in order to bolster our chances of securing both the Premier League and UEFA Champions League titles. You never walk alone. From what we hear from Top Reds, we have the funds, apparently. We have this huge sponsorship deal with Nike. We're guaranteed a big signing every season. I haven't seen that big signing every season, to be honest with you. So apparently the funds are there. We're just very calculated in terms of who we buy, apparently. So look, if the owners want to show a bit of ambition, put your money where your mouth is. Add some new players this January window to really help this team secure the titles that you just mentioned, because we have the quality right now, but to really cement it, we just need a couple of more players that can provide more quality and more depth in our squad. And then for me, we can certainly go all out and go for these major honors and maybe even do more. So let's see. It's almost January. We've got a month away until January. Let's see what happens. But at this stage, who knows? Who knows? I know there's a lot of rumors circulating, so it could be an indication that we might be looking to recruit some players, but it could also be paper talk. So only remains to be seen what happens in the coming weeks. And then Abdul Rahim says we require left back, centre backs, and defensive midfielder, and a number 9 striker, ruthless on goal and scores goals. So yeah, those are definitely the areas I feel like the team needs to strengthen. They won't be sort of resolved in the January window. It will be addressed, I would say, next summer. But I'd like a defensive midfielder in the January window. And even if we just signed one, if we sign a defensive midfielder, I'd be pleased with that, to be honest with you. Maybe that's my low expectation from FSG. But I think that is the area where we lack in terms of numbers, because Gravenberch has been phenomenal. McAllister, if I'm being honest with you, has been up and down the season. Jones has stepped up. And Endo's had a bit part role where he comes in and out, plays 10 minutes cameos here and there. So if we can add another player, whether he's a star or whether he's from the bench, just gives us more quality and more chance to rotate, because Gravenberch, unfortunately, has been playing a lot of games and we've not been able to rotate him that much. So he should be given that, that chance to rest in between games, so he's fresh and ready when we need him to play, especially against the big games coming up, especially in that second half of the season. The games are going to be coming in full flow. So let's see how it goes. But the areas you mentioned, I couldn't agree more. Those are the areas that we need to address definitely by next summer. Excuse me. And Abdul says we are still in the stages of development. First half of the season, there are areas where we can enhance our team to push on and to win major trophies like EPL and UCL. So this is a funny thing, because rival fans won't give Liverpool credit in terms of how well we've done so far. The popular statement is that you guys haven't played anyone yet. Well, we'll play Man City, so we'll find out who we have played or we haven't played. But people fail to realize that this is Arne Slot's first season as Liverpool manager. He's come from a different league, but the way he's adapted is pretty remarkable. Only a few handful of managers, I'm thinking the likes of Ancelotti under Chelsea, of course, Jose Mourinho and another one, and Gus Hiddink, have had consecutive kind of wins or have accumulated a number of wins in line with Arne Slot. No other manager has done it the way they have. So, he's coming to a team where we had the iconic manager. He's had to replace him, fill some big shoes there. And look, he's done phenomenal so far. Let's not be around the bush. The brand of football is slightly different, but, football is played in different ways. It can't be all played in one manner. So for me, I feel like people think what Arne Slot's doing is the final product. It actually isn't. It's the start for Arne Slot because he's just communicating his tactics right now. This team is going to improve more and more. This is the early stages right now. We're in level 1. We've got a lot more levels to hit going forward. So this is just the beginning. So yeah, rival fans should be worried, in my opinion. But let me not speak too much. We'll let the football do the talking. So for me, the most important thing from a Liverpool point of view is securing the signatures of Trent, Virgil van Dijk, and Mohamed Salah. Once we're able to do that and add more players on top in terms of the positions you mentioned, we're solidifying ourselves as an elite team, and we could be challenging all honours next season, in my opinion. But that's me talking about the future. But we'll see how it goes. But that is it for today, guys. Thank you to Abdul Rahim and Daz for your comments. Appreciate it as always, guys. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. In terms of upcoming content, I wasn't planning on doing a watch along, but it's Liverpool Real Madrid. So even though I'm not feeling well, I'm going to push myself and do it. So make sure to tune in. I'll do a bit of an earlier show so we can discuss tactics, do like a quick match preview, and then we'll go straight into the game. So hopefully I'll do that in the next hour or so. So just make sure you've hit that notification bell and make sure you subscribe so you know when my show is coming up. Also, we'll be doing a match preview tomorrow. Of course, match previewing the big Premier League game between Liverpool and Man City. Time to be confirmed for that one. And we'll also do a live watch along this Sunday of Liverpool versus Man City, plus a reaction show that also entails a fan calling. So if you'd like to come in and have your say, feel free to join and get involved. And that concludes the show for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care, stay safe, and I hope to speak with you all very, very soon. Goodbye.